Hey everyone, welcome to my Therapy Tip Thursday, or Kim's Triple T. I'm coming to you today from Kelowna, beautiful, warm, sunny Kelowna. I'm here on a Pleasantness trip. That's pleasure and business. I was going to do it the other way, business and pleasure, but it didn't quite sound the same, so I went with pleasantness. So we're doing a bit of both this weekend, and I wanted to take Therapy Tip Thursday here, make sure that we got it out to you on time, and it's inspired by a question from Jen from Calgary. And Jen was telling me that she has plantar fasciitis, and she's doing physio, and she still has pain. She is, or she does work at a job that requires her to walk a lot, that requires her to stand on her feet a lot, so her lifestyle, no fault of her own, is working against her. So I thought we would use plantar fasciitis as a theme and inspiration for today's Therapy Tip Thursday. Now, I wore my smart girl glasses, and pretty sure that these increase my IQ a couple points, and hopefully give you more trust in my ability and my skills in terms of what I'm going to share with you today about plantar fasciitis. It's all in how you look, right? So if you're wondering why I'm wearing these, it's all for good credibility. So, plantar fasciitis, what exactly is it? Well, I'll give you a hint. Anytime a word or an ailment has the ending of itis, it implies inflammation. And plantar fasciitis, or the plantar fascia, is a ligament or a band of connective tissue on the underside or the plantar side of the foot. Now, plantar fasciitis implies, or is telling you that that band of fascia, that ligament, is inflamed. Okay, there is inflammation in the area, and that comes along with pain in the heel, pain in the underside of the foot, and in the arch. Now, it can happen quite a bit first thing in the morning. It can happen after long periods of time, standing or walking. And if you're like Jen and you have a job that requires you to do either of those things for a long period of time, then things are kind of working against you. The first thing I would like to say and tell Jen to do, and anyone else who suffers from plantar fasciitis, is to rest. As much as possible, get off your feet, elevate your feet, and rest them as much as you can. And yes, can you, if you have a job where you walk 8 hours a day, can you really expect to be off your feet 8 hours a day? Yeah, maybe with sleep. In terms of elevating the feet, it's a little bit harder. So things are kind of working against us, but as much as possible, do that. And a great pose a great yoga pose is Viparita Karani, or legs up the wall. And it sounds exactly like we say it is, right? You lay on your back, you put your legs up the wall, and you choose a distance that's appropriate for your flexibility, so your back stays relaxed, your buttocks stay on the floor, and you're not overstretching the backs of the legs. And just having your feet elevated like that, psychologically as well as physically, will help you feel better. So I would do that every day for as much as 5-10 minutes if you can find the time to do that every day, at least every day where you have a long walking or standing day. And then, what else would I say? Well, as often as you can, get your feet out of your shoes. If you have bad shoes, by all means, please improve on those shoes. Buy yourself a new pair that have better support, that let your feet spread out, your toes and the joints of your feet spread out so that they're in a more natural position, that they can move appropriately. Sometimes we try to cram, especially as women, we try to cram our feet into narrow shoes, and then that affects how our bones align, and it affects everything else up the chain, right? Even into our ankles and into our shins. So change your shoes whenever possible. Get out of your shoes, and then incorporate range of motion exercises for your toes. Not something we often do, and you can combine this, kill two birds with one stone, in legs up the wall. So what do I mean by that? Well, like our hands, our toes should be able to spread and close, right? We should be able to wiggle our toes independently, pretty much, and then move them one at a time, etc. We don't always practice our toe dexterity. We're not hanging from trees, we're not doing any of those sorts of activities that require you to use your toes in this way. So it'll be hard for us, and we might even find that, gosh, we've completely lost ability to do this. But with practice, I promise you, and I still have lots of work to do, but I promise you, you'll see improvement. So spread the toes out, wiggle them out, play around with, don't take it too seriously, but play around with how much you can move each toe and see, will them to move, and see over time. If you do that every day along with your Viparita Karani, right? Put your legs on the wall and then do some toe spreading activities, some wiggling activities, trying to work things independently, that you'll feel and see a difference and build that strength as well as the mobility and the range of motion. Now, another thing I'll say is that we should never think of a body part or an area of the body in isolation. So yes, there's a band of tissue under the foot that's inflamed, that's where we feel the pain. But what else is going up further up the leg? What's your range of motion in your ankles like? So do you have stiff ankles? Do you feel like your calf muscles are tight, or maybe your shin muscles are tight? So a quick check for this, and again you can do it seated here or legs at the wall, is you can flex in both ranges of motion, right? Flex this way and then flex that way, flex this way and flex that way. Highlighting my feet is not always the best thing, especially when I haven't had a pedicure. But yeah, see what you can do in that sort of a range of motion in that joint specifically. Even ankle circles can help, and you might find that you're pretty stiff. So incorporate those. Incorporate range of motion exercises for the ankle when you feel like you're building up some mobility there. Then include things like calf raises, like longer stretches, like a souped up angustasana, where you're sort of in legs at the wall, but you have one leg up at a time. You can even use a strap around the foot, just to work the leg in a straighter position, stretch out the calves, flex the ankle, etc. that way. And then I would just keep going, right? How is your knee? How's the mobility in your knee? How's the mobility in your hip? Balance out both sides. So even though if you have plantar fasciitis on one foot, or that's where you feel most of the symptoms and the pain, make sure you give some time and some love to the other side too. So keep things balanced. And then finally, and you've probably heard this a lot too, I'm just assuming, is to ice the area. Ice can be your best friend when there's inflammation. And we hear about it all the time. We think, oh yeah, I know that. It's a simple thing to do, but we don't always do it as much as we should. So try that out. Work with your range of motion in your toes, in your ankles. We can go into more specifics at a later date if you want, but keep it simple. Take off your shoes and rest, and hopefully that'll help your plantar fasciitis. Keep the questions coming. If you have something else that you want to, a question that you want answered in an upcoming Therapy Tip Thursday, you can email me at info@kimmcneilyoga.ca, or you can comment below right here under this video on my YouTube channel. And otherwise, hope that helped. Really looking forward to hearing your comments, and I'll see you here again next week. Thanks, guys.